I'm reviewing Final Destination Bloodlines. Final Destination Bloodlines is New Line Cinema's newest horror film, and it will be in theaters on May 16th. It is directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, and it stars Caitlin Santawana, Tony Todd, and Richard Harmon. I'm going to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible so I don't ruin the film for you if you do decide to see it. And I do think that you will decide to see this film. This is the 6th installment in the Final Destination series. A young adult is having these recurring nightmares about her grandmother, Iris. In the vision or nightmare, Iris is going to the opening of a restaurant bar club in the 60s called the Starview, I believe it's called. Oh my gosh, I hope I got that name right. And while she visits this tower in the sky, it collapses and pretty much everyone dies. As we come to find out, her grandmother is still alive, of course, and so is her entire family, and her nightmare was the premonition that her grandmother had before she saved the entire club full of people. So you can imagine what sort of consequences that leads to, and that's where we find ourselves in the film. So basically, the people that were supposed to be the people that originally passed did not, but those people went on to have children, hence bloodlines. So, Iris had, her 2 children, and then her 2 children had their own families. So we're dealing with the kids of the kids. First Final Destination film was fantastic because it introduced us to the concept that, if you have a massive event where people are supposed to die and they don't, that death, in its form, I suppose, will come after the people that remain in order to, keep everything in balance. Make sure everything is the way that it's supposed to be. As the films went along, we get more and more into this, and more of the lore is developed and understood and explained, and a lot of that is through Tony Todd's character. Rest in peace, Tony Todd, who passed away in November of last year. Thankfully, I was very lucky to have met Tony, and he was very kind and very awesome, and I realize I am the palest person in the world. So that is unfortunately just the way my life is. This film was absolutely hilarious, but when it got to Tony's scene, I crumbled. It was very meaningful and very poignant, and what he says matters and makes a lot of sense. It was really beautiful. It was a really, really beautiful moment. And I think in, a way it was like him saying, goodbye to his fans because, of course, he was sick. Touched me greatly. The entirety of this film, aside from that moment, is absolutely outrageous, absolutely crazy, and absolutely over the top and hilarious. One of the things that I really like about this film is that it propels the story, and it actually comes full circle and wraps up one series of these deaths. And that series actually includes Tony Todd's character. And we get to find more out about his character and his origin story, essentially. And of course, the origin story of the family that we are focusing on. If you are planning on seeing this movie, I definitely don't recommend watching the trailer or any of the trailers. They do give quite a bit away. Now, what you see may not be what you get. Just so you know, things kind of change up, things kind of happen. It's not exactly the way they show there, but I'd recommend maybe not watching it, just so you don't know for sure how the deaths go. The cinematography in this film is phenomenal. Beautiful, gorgeous shots. It's filmed for IMAX, so it's actually visually very cool. Some of the shots that were amazing you can see in the trailer, like the penny. There are quite a few drone shots, but it made sense. Someone going here, someone going there. This is really another mystery. The family dynamics here are pretty believable and pretty outlandish as well. I really love how all the family members have a distinct and really quite cute personality, but you could tell that they love each other and it's very sweet. I mean, there's a little heart in this. I try not to get too attached to these characters because I don't trust the movies. I don't trust these movies. I don't want to get too attached to someone and see them go. Nothing in this film seems crazy, but it's all absolutely insane crazy. Some of the stuff that they're talking about, some of the stuff that they do, some of the familial, genealogy stuff that you discover comes at a really big laugh, and maybe we shouldn't be laughing at it. Richard Harmon, who plays Eric, just blew my mind. He really was my favorite character. He's very funny, very cute, very clever, very natural. Like, I adored his character so much. I found him completely believable and kind of hard, but lovable at the same time. So maybe I just kind of relate to that sort of character. So the main thing about the Final Destination films is all the kills, right? There were a lot of kills in this. There's a lot. The kill count in this is gonna be really high. I hope Dead Meat is ready for this because it's gonna be up there. You know better than to grow close or grow attached to any of the characters because anyone on Death's list, or maybe even not on Death's list, could be next. And they could go in a series of events or just go poof, and that's it. So you don't get too attached. So you're kind of used to, that sort of thing happening in a Final Destination film. And that is the way it happens in this film for sure. Even after 6 films, I feel like the kills were still fun and inventive and creative, and I enjoyed them. As far as gore goes, yeah, there's some gore because there's kills. Most of it is CGI. Just letting you know now, most of it's CGI. I didn't really care. I didn't really care because I thought it was funny. And some of it was quick and it just got to business, and that worked for me. It was not a problem for me. I expected it, especially with all of these kills. I mean, this would be incredibly expensive if they tried to go practical with all of this. One of the deaths did really affect me, and all I can say is, as soon as the death started happening, I was like, oh God, please don't have a Prince Albert. That was unfortunate. But that kill was very cool. That was actually probably my favorite kill. One of the great things about this film is that it felt really fast. The movie kept moving, and I was constantly interested in what was happening on the screen. I love that we start in the 60s and then we actually move into the future, and the 60s stuff just looked so awesome and so amazing. I love the design and the wardrobe and the costuming. I just really enjoyed everything about this film. Shockingly so. Shockingly so. When I tell you that this is the best Final Destination film in the franchise, I mean that this is the absolute best Final Destination film in the franchise. I honestly didn't think that I was going to be saying that coming into this review, but as I walked out of the theater, I could not stop smiling. Even though I feel like this is my personal favorite in the series, I don't think that everyone is going to feel that way. I think some people might feel like it is too far outrageous and out of the norm for Final Destination to be as good as, let's say, the first film, because the first film would have been my favorite up to this point. And I loved it because it's very good, very kind of grounded, very down to earth, very real. This is not that. This is really outrageous, not quite campy, but definitely campy-ish. Okay, it definitely falls into that. It is really funny. Some of the kills, while they're still cool kills, I do think there are cooler and maybe more clever kills in previous Final Destination films. But that doesn't make the whole movie for me. I'm judging this based on the entirety of the film, and the entirety of this film is freaking fabulous. I just think it was clever and cute and funny and witty and gory and great. I love that this film gives us an origin story for all of this whole setup, this whole thing. We all know where it began now, and we all know where Tony Todd's character came from and why he knows as much as he does and how he is involved in this. And I love that. I'm so thankful that they were able to like kind of wrap all that up and give it a satisfying conclusion. If you are a Final Destination fan, obviously you have to see this film. You at least have to see it for Tony Todd's send-off because it's beautiful. Watch it in a theater so you can all laugh together. People were clapping and cheering at multiple points during the film, and I found myself feeling the same way. I think I'm gonna watch it again. I think I might. I think I must. I think it's that funny. I think some of the characters were so cute and clever, and I would just love to see them again. Are you a fan of the Final Destination franchise? Are you planning on seeing Final Destination Bloodlines? What horror film are you most looking forward to coming out? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I really do hope that you have the most amazing day, my spooky darlings. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my Patreon. I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you still being there for me. I love you dearly. Now, I know with Final Destination films, you know, sometimes the rules can get a little murky. Generally, death comes for the people in the order that they were supposed to die. And if that person, you know, that death is coming for actually manages to escape their death, then death moves on to the next person and then comes back around. Now that's different in this film. And the reason that I think that it's different is because we're not actually dealing with the original people that were supposed to be the one that die in this event. We're dealing with the children of those people. So I don't think the same rules apply to them as they would apply to the original, you know, victims. I could be way overthinking this, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But in this case, death is definitely going in order, and that person has to go, and then the next person, or it just kind of stops. It just kind of waits. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. So you can kind of have some kind of explanation, and it's not really giving too much about the film away. I think it maybe helps provide some clarity. If you're a really big Final Destination fan, you might feel like, well, that's different from this. And yes, maybe it is a little different. I also feel like some of the other Final Destination films are based way more in some sort of reality. This film goes off the rails. I mean, every film, you know, really started turning death more and more into like an entity or a thing. And I think in this one, they go full almost into an entity or thing. They even gender-based death as a he, which is, you know, makes sense. Sure, whatever, I don't care. But it really is like a thing here. I mean, and you have a character that even talks to it. Oh, I see you. I know what you're doing. Like, I know where that's going. I know what's happening there. It's funny. It's great. It's funny. It's clever. It's cute.